Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Corporate podcast show. So, Virgil van Dijk isn't the kind of captain who always tries to stir the pot unnecessarily. Now, usually his interviews are very calm, measured. There's a lot of belief in the squad whenever he says something, and he's always cool, calm, and collected. And he always has that sort of like a stature and a class to him whenever he speaks, be it in a press conference, be it in an interview. So you could always see it, you know. But when your skipper says on record that Liverpool still need reinforcements, now you have to sit up and then you need to take notice. Now, here's the thing, this is not a knee jerk reaction as to what happened in the FA Community Shield against Crystal Palace. No, you know, this is actually coming from someone who is our captain, who has watched the team play at some point in the preseason. He saw the massive changes that's happening, the big summer arrivals, the record signings, and the departures of major influential players in the team. And the Community Shield match actually, the performance actually just showed a lot of potential, but then it shows a lot of worrying gaps. So I think that's where Van Dijk is actually coming from. Now, where do we actually stand in terms of summer spending? Now, so far, we have spent somewhere around in the region of 265 million pounds. So we've brought in Florian Wirtz, who is about 116 million euros from Bayer Leverkusen, who is the creative hub, can play as a 10, can play as a wide forward, can play as a false 9. And then we have Hugo Ekitike, who we've signed for 79 million euros from Frankfurt. He's that tall physical striker that you want, and he's very young, and he's it's raw potential from Hugo Ekitike, but he's very talented, and it was very obvious in his performance against Crystal Palace. Then we have Jeremy Frimpong, who we signed for somewhere in the region of 30 million euros from Bayer Leverkusen. He's same as Wirtz, and is a very attacking minded right back, like some Milos Kerkez, who we've signed from Bournemouth for somewhere in the region of 40 million euros, who is a high energy left back. We also have Mamadashvili, who we signed, the goalkeeper from Valencia, for somewhere in the region of 25 million euros. So he's an elite young goalkeeper who can challenge Alisson, who has he has the makings of being a world class goalkeeper. He has a lot of potential, and it was very evident in the games that he played for Valencia last season when we signed him and then we sent him back on loan. So it's also a very good signing as well. So that is all the incomings. And then when we look at all the outgoings, we had major exits. So we had Trent leaving for Real Madrid. And then we also had the likes of Darwin Nunez, Luis Diaz, Jarrell Kwanzaa, Quimin Kelleher. So they have collectively sort of like departed, bringing with them a lot of the depth, a lot of the experience that was in this Liverpool team, in this title winning team last season. The squad trimming in terms of outgoings in, I mean, has left us with fewer backup options, and especially in the central of defense and also in the attack. So now let's go to Van Dijk's warning, I could say, or Van Dijk's call for reinforcements. Now, he said in this recent interview, now I can see it here, he said he trusts the club's direction. He understands the major signings that we have done, but then, and he also, accepts the fact that our teams play a depth on certain positions in the pitch has reduced a little bit, but he said he fully understands the vision of the club, the vision of Arne Slot, the vision of Mike Edwards and Richard Hughes, and where are they trying to bring Liverpool forward and trying to make them a force to be reckoned with in Europe as well as domestically as well. And but he also mentioned that the squad rotation and defensive solidity is very, very important, and that is what ultimately sort of like cost us, the match against Crystal Palace. But then he also mentioned that these are sort of like the things that are These are the two attributes that are very, very important for us to defend the Premier League and also be a force to be reckoned with in Europe, so that we can push ourselves further in the Champions League and in the domestic tournaments as well. So now, what are the gaps I actually Van Dijk is pointing to? So there are actually three, sort of like three areas of concern for him, I think, and not only just for him but for his fans as well. So now let's look at the centre back depth. Now, with Kwanzaa now gone, and we're looking at the history of injuries for Konate and Joe Gomez, it's looking very, very uh, critical and sort of like crisis level. I'm not saying that it's very bad. That the backup options itself is either out of position. You know, you have the likes of Endo, you have Gravenberg playing at the central of defense during preseason. You also had Robertson playing at the central of defense. So that's where I think it's glaringly obvious that the squad, the players' depth in central defense is very, very thin, and it needs addressing to. It needs attention. And then when we look at the right back position, yes, Trent leaves, and then that leaves a void. But then we do have the likes of Conor Bradley, now injured as well. We almost had a scare when Frimpong fell down in the match against Crystal Palace, but luckily, nothing happened to him, and he was able to continue for the rest of the match. So right back position is done. So now we go into the strikers depth. So like I said before, there is a big void there. Diego Jota is not with us anymore. Rest in peace. Unfortunate things happen. Darwin Nunez has already left us for Al Hilal. He's playing his trade in Saudi. Luis Diaz is also now in Bayern Munich. So, these are very influential and, uh, you know, uh, influential players and very experienced players who have won the league with us and leaving for pastures new. I'm not going to criticize them a lot in terms of their decisions to leave, but it was necessary in order for the club to move forward. But then gaps are there in terms of striker depth. There is a void, sort of like without three strikers and three forwards. So it is very, very clear to see that signings are necessary for that. You know, Ekitike, in my opinion, is sort of like a gamble. He did show his quality in the game against Crystal Palace, and the way he scored, the way he controls the ball, his link up play with Florian Wirtz, his link up play with Kirkes. You could see that very evidently. He likes to be in that position, trying to drift wide, trying to play in centrally as a striker. He's doing that very well, but he needs time, and he needs time to integrate himself into the team. And I also think that with the intensity of the Premier League, uh, you need time, you need games, you need minutes for your legs, for your body to be equipped and be ready for the pressures that come playing in the Premier League. So in terms of strikers depth, that's about it. And then let's look about the transfer targets for this next 2 weeks and who are we going to push to sign. So the most evident, the most obvious would be Alexander Isak from Newcastle United. So I don't need to say too much about him. He is the top priority in terms of the number 9 position, since there is a vacancy over there. So we are definitely looking forward to signing him as soon as possible. There's only 2 weeks left, so hopefully Newcastle can find their replacement. And we did have our bid rejected, so Newcastle are trying to hold firm, but then it's a little bit messy from their part. But if we do sign Isak, it would push our spending to somewhere in the region of 400 million euros being spent this summer. And despite that, our PSR is still good to go. So still okay in that sense. We are not spending unnecessarily. We are spending in order to defend the title. And looking at the way that our net spend has been, we have made some good profits this season, in this summer transfer window. And in the years back, we have managed to balance our books and manage our financials really, really well. So hopefully we can get this Isak signing done. And then we have Mark Wehi from Crystal Palace as well, who played against us in the Community Shield. A very commanding centre back. I saw glimpses of him playing in the Euros for England. I also seen him play for against us, with Crystal Palace. A very commanding centre back, who is the captain of Crystal Palace, by the way. And he's still 25. He's very strong in duels. Very young player, still has a lot to give, a lot of potential, and Crystal Palace might be reluctant to sell him for cheap, because he only has 1 year left on his contract and he's not going to be renewing his contract anytime soon. And I don't think Liverpool would, pass up the opportunity to sign Mark Wehi and or risk losing him on a free transfer to another club, be it Newcastle or any other top clubs in the top six. So I think Liverpool would be starting to push for the signing of Mark Wehi, and I think it's a very sensible transfer and a very good transfer as well. I don't see him as the backup to Van Dijk or Konate, but definitely I can see him playing alongside either one of these centre backs in once the everything is official, then we could see a potential partnership between Van Dijk and Guehi or Konate. So we never know. Let's see. So another transfer target that I'm looking at here right now, they say it's Mark Guehi. Sorry, not Mark Guehi. It's Johan Wissa, but I don't think it's unlikely to happen because Newcastle are also looking at Johan Wissa, who is from Brentford. Highly unlikely that we would go for him as well. Sorry. So another wildcard centre back option that I wanted to mention was also Giovanni Leone. I think you guys would have heard. We do have strong interest in him. He's a very young defender, a very tall defender, very strong in the air, good on the ball, loves to make a tackle, loves to rough up players. Very young, has already played his trade in Parma. He's currently there right now in Serie A in the Italian league. I've just seen glimpses of him. I've never really seen him play a full 90 minutes or something like that. But then, as per what I have heard through reports and journalists out there, he's a very good signing if we are able to make it, and it's definitely one for the future as well. So, in terms of summer signings that could be done, this is how we look overall. And then, how does this look now? Why this matters now, the signings, Van Dijk's call for signings, because we saw in the Crystal Palace match the attack looks very promising, but then the attack looks promising. Birds and Ekitike, they linked up very well, but then the defense still looks very, very shaky under pressure, and it was very, very obvious whenever Crystal Palace had an opportunity to attack, to put some crosses in, we were struggling. We were actually struggling in terms of man marking, in terms of zonal markings or whatnot. We weren't even able to get offsides correctly. We couldn't even catch them offside for a number of times. So that was very, very glaring to see. Hopefully we could change. The defense, like I said, could be the Achilles heel of our team if we do not address this very soon. So sooner or later, it might bite us in the ass, if I want to put it bluntly. So, let me know what you guys think. Because we've already spent 265 million. Still our captain says we need more. Hopefully we can sign more, and the clock is ticking. I know the Liverpool board are on it. They would not take these kind of things very lightly. I want to hear it from you guys as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who do you think that if you had the final say in the Liverpool boardroom, who would you actually sign, and why? And why, I mean, why, as in why would it make sense for you to sign that particular player? So before the deadline day, let's see what happens. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch my video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, do share it to all your other Liverpool friends and family who watch Liverpool on a daily basis. I'll come up with another content for you guys, and Hope to see you guys very, very soon, and you'll never walk alone. And take care and see you guys very soon.